All right, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Chamber Chat here on PeoriaLife.com. My name is Jeff Griffin, and I am your host. I also, part of my day job is being the president and CEO of the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce. So, very special guest today, and I don't say that all the time.
Well, thank you.
My good buddy, Director of Marketing is your exact title, right?
Yes, it is.
At the Wheels of Time Museum.
Correct.
So, hopefully our audience is aware of the Wheels of Time Museum. If
Right.
you've ever been to any of the business after hours for the Chamber of Commerce, you're aware, because Bobby Rice puts out such an energy about the Wheels of Time Museum and sells it. I know she was one of the very first people I met when I moved to Peoria almost 4 years ago now.
Right, it's been that long.
Yeah, I know, right? Time
Good.
flies
It's
when you're
good.
having fun. But it's a beautiful place, and we're going to learn more about it today. Bobby, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad I could come.
You got it. So am I. When I saw your name on the list yesterday when it was handed to me, it energized me for the day.
Well,
So-
you were so energized when we did it last year, and you were turned it out there, too. You had a great
Exactly. All right. So I'm afraid some of our viewers, listeners, aren't aware of what the Wheels of Time Museum is all about, where it's at. So let's start with the basics.
time. Okay, Wheels of Time Museum is located on North Knoxville at West Woodside Drive. Its actually address is Dunlap, but it's right next to Peoria, across from Lake of the Woods. We've been there 35 years, our 35th year being open. We have 4 buildings, which you can't see that from the street. It looks rather rather small. You get inside, it's a whole different wonderland.
Right.
Because we have 2 levels in some of the buildings, and we actually have 4 buildings and about 4 acres of property. And they start going through there. Oh my gosh, there's more than what I thought there was to see here. And they'll find, I thought it was just cars. They'll see mannequins, airplanes, clocks, music room, grandma's kitchen, dolls, a library, radio station, ag lab display, bicycles, tractors, cat of course,
Right.
along with a Best and Holt.
Right.
And then we have Deere, IH, and a Ford tractor. And the Ford tractor we use to mow grass on a frequent basis.
It really works.
All of our tractors work.
Does the locomotive work?
No.
Well,
No, that would be great if it did.
It would.
It
Well,
would.
it's kind of good because it just pull right out of Knoxville, cause all kinds of chaos.
It would be great. The only thing is it would need a lot of money to get it restored.
Yeah, well, let me tell you. So, folks, you heard the description, you know the address, Wheels of Time Museum, but you know it by the big black locomotive on the west side of Knoxville as you're heading north into Dunlap.
Right.
And that's your. But get in there, like Bobby said. It's me and my family spend hours in there because there's interactive stuff to do, all kinds of antiques, all kinds of cars, just like you said.
Right, there are, and there's buttons to press wherever you go. In fact, one family was in Saturday. I happened to be out there for a little while, and I just said, how'd you find out about us? And this one lady said, I came last year with a friend.
Right.
Today's my birthday, and I wanted to bring my 3-year-old grandson, so she brought her whole family. And so we're going from age 3 to whatever she was, and this was obviously, she was probably in her 70s.
Okay.
And
Young
she's-
lady.
And she said, oh, we had a ball. Everybody enjoyed it. And she said, my grandson liked it, and he did just what I thought he was going to do here, and it was just so wonderful. I'm so glad you have this place.
Right.
It's a 2-part trip for our museum. Like, she came a year ago by herself. She had a chance to read and look and learn more. When you have little ones, they have certain things they want to go to, and that's great for them too, because the circus parade, kinetic energy machine, the model trains upstairs, a train outside. These kids make a loop 3 or 4 times through there,
Yep.
and they're having a ball.
And it's affordable too. And this is one of those things we talk about all time and time again, whether the Chamber of Commerce or the Convention and Visitors Bureau, things we have special to do in the Peoria area that those of us who live in Peoria don't take advantage of. And Wheels of Time, the Spirit of Peoria, things like that, the zoo. We've got all these great treasures, and we don't do them often enough living here. But I know, so the admission is...
Admission is $7 for adult and $3.50 for ages 3 to 11. Under 3 is free. And we try to keep it reasonable
Yeah.
because we're thinking these families don't have a lot of money to go out and spend. We're cheaper than a movie at this point in time.
Right. So for the 3 to 11 ages, for that 3, do you guys card for that?
We
Or
ask.
do you ask IDs
No,
for a
we do not.
12-year-old trying
No.
to sneak in as an 11-year-old?
We just ask them. The kids are usually so proud to say what age they are, and it depends. If we're doing with school groups, we do charge the lower rate because we've got a
Right.
group no matter what their age is. But
Right.
but normally it's just we just
I need to confess something. Can I
Right.
confess something?
Yes.
I didn't do this at Wheels of Time, but it's kind of a cute story. We were up in Chicago. Hope nobody from the aquarium is watching. But their age bracket was like something to 13 was a child. And I said I had 2 children, and my 14-year-old pops up and he goes, "I'm not 13, I'm 14." He busted me out right in front of the lady taking admission.
that does happen. I'm sure that could happen too at times. Otherwise, little ones will say, "Well, I just turned 4. I just turned 3."
Yeah.
Whatever it happened to be. But
Oh man,
yeah,
I felt awful. I was teaching my kid to tell a white lie. What kind of role model is that?
people at front desk and all sorts of experiences to go through.
Well, and and another thing, when you check in at the Wheels of Time Museum, those are volunteers that staff.
We have all volunteer staff. I'm a volunteer as well. We have one part-time paid site manager who volunteers as well as working there. And she's been with us about 7 years now, and she's been a wonderful asset to our group. She's done a lot to expand out our facility.
Well, my point is, you're greeted in such a caring manner, and people that care, they're giving up, they're investing their day and their
Right.
time and their energy into the Wheels of Time.
They all look at it and they think, "Oh, I like this place. We want
Yeah.
other people to like it too." And we also try to find out where people come from. Last year, I had visitors from 45 states plus DC and 21 countries. And then people locally say, "Oh gosh, maybe I should come out and find
Right.
out what there is to offer out here."
I was just going to mention, you have that here on my cheat sheet. Thank you. But when you see that guest book and you're asked to sign in, all the different 45 states plus DC and 21 countries.
That's what we had last season.
Right.
I'll go through it at the end of this year for what the data is for the end of this
Right.
year. Yeah.
So are you guys tied in, like the new, we have a lot more visitors with the Louisville Slugger, for example.
That's something else that the Louisville Sluggers is just getting going.
Right.
And we've seen a few, but not as many as we'd like to see.
Right. Yeah, they're well, whatever the case is, we want to make sure whenever we have visitors to town, they have the whole circuit of whether they're staying on North End or downtown. We want
Right.
to make sure they know about our museum, Cat Visitor Center, and Wheels of Time is definitely on that list of places folks should go ahead.
Right,
and visit.
it is, and I hope. But sometimes they don't have a lot of time in between games. That's another problem.
Yeah,
and the kids get tired and they've got to run back to the hotel and get
Right.
rested up for the next game.
Right.
Sometimes that happens as well.
So the locomotives and the engines and so forth. I have a son who just loves anything about locomotives and so forth. He's just mesmerized.
Has he been out to see the River and Rail exhibit?
Not yet. Tell us about that.
Okay, River and Rails opened up the end of last year, and that's a history of the transportation of the Peoria area.
Okay.
And of course, steamboats came in the 1830s, and we have a model of the Spirit of Peoria and the Columbia there. The Columbia is a steamboat that sank in 1918. It's coming up to 100 years next year. And we have artifacts from the Columbia included in the exhibit. One of our volunteers happens to have a collection of artifacts that came from the Columbia. He's loaned some things to us. We also have a map of the river, of Illinois River, which is from 1902. And we've had to make it set in one place, otherwise it'd be torn. It's 200 feet long. You can't just pick it up and move it. You've got to pick it a location.
Map's 200 feet long?
Yeah, that's why it's rolled up in a scroll. It looks like an old-time scroll. And then next to it is an image of downtown Peoria, taken from East Peoria, I think in 1916. And the steamboats that are sitting there along this, where we're taking it now, there were steamboats tied up at that time.
Right.
And it's just interesting to see that. And also, you can they point out a few things on this map. It's a long, thin picture, which you don't find those anymore. Then the rail part, trains started to come in Peoria in 1850s, which kind of killed part of the steamboat traffic.
Right.
And, I forget about these times. Of course, we had 2 depots here, the Union Depot and the Rock Island Depot. And the Union Depot actually was abandoned when I was a child and eventually burned, and forgotten which year it was. And the Rock Island, of course, was closed up later on. But it was kind of interesting. So all the train information that was in this area, it's amazing. And we had like over 100 trains, train a day coming in. And
Right.
this steam locomotive is a model of a TP&W locomotive that ran in Peoria from 1938 to 1950. TP&W needed to have a specific size weight because the bridge they had going from Peoria to East Peoria couldn't handle it.
So all that history, and I'm sorry to cut
Right,
you off,
no,
so we're running out of time to make sure we get the
yeah,
other thing.
right.
But all that history, the network of volunteers we have at the Wheels of Time Museum have access to these antique maps and the history, and that
Right.
story's all told there. So get out there and visit. But tell me, August exhibit with the Model T and the Blue Star. Make sure we get
Okay,
folks
we're,
up
we're
to date with
finishing
what's going
up
on with that.
August exhibit, and we have the Silver Streak, which is the one the girls from Bradford used from
Right.
1936 to 42 to run around the country. They took one trip a year. The second year out, they met Henry Ford. And then he was able to help them from that point on because they were going out to visit servicemen from Bradford. He thought, you have a good cause, I'll try to help you. If you break down, and also make accommodations for you in certain places, which
Right.
helped them out. And John Beatty owns the car now. He's written a book about it. The books are for
Unbelievable.
sale at our museum as well.
This is a fascinating story. If you don't know the Silver Streak story, you need to go out to Wheels of Time Museum
It's
just
fun,
for that.
and that car will be in a parade for Bradford again on Labor Day, and that came to Bradford car. And he just had the car going across Canada. Maybe he came a trip from Canada from 1939 before he came into the museum. That's what he was doing. We also have two trucks that are from the mid-20s. One's a heating delivery truck, other was just a plain delivery truck in restoration. They're kind of neat things to see. The Blue Star program ends Labor Day for this season. This means for anyone that's a military family, active military, and up to 4 members of their family are our guests at the museum. That program ends on Labor Day. This
Okay.
is our 8th year for that. September is Mustang Month. We started that a few years ago because Mustangs were popular. 50 years ago, a couple years ago, it was their 50th anniversary. We've just kind of carried that over. That's in the Ford area. October is Fords from the 50s. Our fall festival will be October 8th. And just a variety of few other
What
things.
goes on at the... First of all, I want to repeat, make sure folks hear that the Blue Star program,
And-
active military, and 4 family members are guests of the Wheels of Time.
And that ends after Labor Day for
After
this
Labor Day,
season. This is
okay.
the 8th year we've done it. We're the only organization here that's
fantastic.
done that for 8 years.
That's
no one else
awesome.
has done that long.
And what happens at the Fall Festival, October 8th?
Fall Festival will have Dave Berchtold, who's been with music the last few times. He's done a lot of music and he performs a lot in the area.
Okay.
And then we'll have other people come in with other different kinds of model steam engines, tractors, a few cars. We also have AMT ambulance out there to give us demonstrations on what safety is like. We'll bring in other fire engines plus antique fire engines for demonstrations of what equipment's like. We
Interesting.
bring in other objects and other things for that day. And it's been a good turnout the last few years for that
All
as
right.
well.
So
And
it's
more
great to
things
see
happened.
local business, and AMT takes care of us when we need them. It's good to see them involved.
They want to be involved. They like to have their people out to demonstrate their equipment.
Absolutely, they do.
And
I'll
the
tell you
Dunlap
what.
Fire Department's coming too.
Who?
Dunlap Fire Department.
I'll tell you what. Definite. Well, they're right across the street. So
That's right across the state. That's right.
Perfect.
That's right.
And they'd be the one to respond to emergencies.
Right, they
'cause
are.
you're in
They
Dunlap.
are, yeah.
Right, you got it. All right, folks. Wheelsotime.org, wheelsotime.org is where you can find all the information. Bobby Rice, marketing manager for the Wheels of Time, volunteer, true beauty of our community, and we love you. We love what you do for us. We love your energy. What keeps you going as a volunteer and so forth with this?
The people that come out and the reward and the reactions and the smiles on their faces. Because the factor that this has been done as a grassroots operation. It hasn't been done with any federal grants or local grants. It's all been local monies funded. And that's been a big, we're not as glitzy as the one downtown, but we have so many things to offer and so many things to do and so many buttons to press, interactive. And we like to make people be friendly because we have a glide, which was made in Peoria Heights. We have so many things to meet in the Peoria area.
It's a fascinating
Come out and see
display.
what
If you've
got.
never, I bet there's people listening, lived here their whole lives and never been out there, but you need to take time, get out there, visit Wheels of Time Museum. Bobby, thanks for all you do for the community and for the Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate you. And thanks you all for tuning in to PeoriaLife.com and Chamber Chat. I'm your host, Jeff Griffin. We're signing off till next time. Thanks, Bobby.
Okay.
PeoriaLife.com